The new message from Joe Biden is clearly that Republicans, because there's no difference in his dementia-addled mind from MAGA Republicans, are enemies of the state. That really is the campaign that is now being run. If you're a parent looking out for your kids in school, you will be watched by the FBI and considered a domestic terrorist. If you own a gun and reject a pile of new gun control laws, you are clearly a threat to America because you are someone that doesn't care if kids get murdered at school, obviously. If you oppose open borders that are allowing millions to flow in unchecked and unvetted, then that makes you a racist. That one's pretty clear, obviously. Joe Biden says the MAGA people that believe America should come first, that citizenship means something that's important, that people should get equal treatment under the law, the government should be small and taxes should be low, then you, by all means, are clearly a domestic terrorist. This is the kind of insane comments that are coming from the left, led by feeble Joe Biden, but amplified by Democrats all over America, most of whom are running for office, will not even debate any opponent that voices support for the last president and administration and for putting America first, because that makes you a racist, and therefore they don't have to debate. They can avoid the conversation and hide from voters. This is truly unprecedented. This is truly off the rails. Furthermore, if you think we should be producing American energy and not becoming dependent on windmills and solar panels, then you're a science denier. But if you don't think a person can change their gender by changing their clothes, their name, and their pronoun, then of course you're a raging bigot. This also goes for law and order. If you think criminals should be held responsible for the crimes they commit, cash bail ought to be in place, and you think defunding the police is a bad idea, once again, you are a white supremacist and need to be silenced or worse, charged with hate crime for saying such awful things and dumped in jail. Let's listen a bit, shall we, to what's being said out there about these things on both sides. I think it's high time to get a grip on what's really happening and how the things the left does every day are actually being blamed on people like you. All right, does that seem fair? All right, get your pencils sharp because it's time to do the work, boys and girls. In Pennsylvania, the extremists don't care about ordinary citizens. They want convicted killers to be released from prison. Listen to this. This is Senate candidate John Fetterman's choice for the Board of Pardons. Listen.
One of the most glaring problems in Pennsylvania's legal system is that we have mandatory life without parole as a sentence for first and second-degree murder. And we also have many people serving these excessively long virtual life sentences. But we deny people serving these sentences any substantial avenues for relief.
Oh, so we need to let killers out of prison. John Fetterman has advocated for this. The woman he wants to be in charge of the parole board advocates for this. I wonder if the people of Pennsylvania advocate for letting convicted killers out on parole, ones that have been sent to prison for life without parole, because that's what the people demanded. Well, let that sink in for a moment. Meanwhile, Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan points out the obvious, and that is Joe Biden has nothing to run on. So he has to attack voters. Listen to this one.
And you got to call your opposition names when you got nothing else to point to. I mean, we went from safe streets to record crime. We went from a secure border to no border. We went from $2 gas to $5 gas, and we went from stable prices to record inflation. So call me extreme if I want actually, stable prices, affordable energy. If I want to actually have a secure border, call us extreme. I guess that's what you're going to do when you got nothing else to talk about. But Brian, think about this. In the past 4 weeks, Joe Biden has raided the home of a former president, taken the phone of a sitting member of Congress, called one half of the country fascist and extremist, said to those same people, oh, by the way, we're going to make you pay the student loan debt off of someone else. And finally, he signed a bill to unleash 87,000 IRS agents to come harass you, the American taxpayer. Such a deal. So I guess he's going to call us names after doing those kind of extreme things. He can do that, but I don't think it sells.
I don't think it sells either. And there's been this notion floating around for a few days now. Suddenly the Democrats are rallying. Joe Biden is suddenly on the rise. Surprise. Joe Biden did two things that set that whole narrative on its ear. Number one, he forgave $500 billion, maybe as much as $1 trillion in student debt that'll be back to that exact same point within a decade, according to all observers and the ones that run the models. So we'll forgive $1 trillion in student debt loan, and then it'll be back to that level again in 10 years so it can be, forgiven again. That's the first thing that Joe Biden did that America rejects soundly. The second thing that Joe Biden did is raise the rhetoric in his MAGA Republicans are the enemy of the state speech given in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania last week. That's also being not well received. You see, the abortion thing was starting to weigh in the Democrats' favor in the polling. And then those two things happened. Robert Cahaly at Trafalgar says that not only balanced things out, but it pushed things back to the right, and you'll start to see that in the polling in the next handful of days. Here's another taste from the far left. Far left pundit Eugene Robinson, that should be put out to pasture, says Joe Biden is giving his closing arguments for the midterms by attacking ordinary Americans. You have to hear it to believe it, but here it is.
The threat of the MAGA Republicans and the kind of country that they want this to be. And so I think he's trying to fire up the base. He's also trying to split off independents and right-leaning, independents and non-MAGA Republicans, the few that may be left, who will still identify as Republicans but are not MAGA. He's trying to split them off as well. And I think he's feeling a lot better about the prospect for the midterm than he would have, say, 3 months ago.
Yeah. Those MAGA Republicans. You're the threat to America. You people that go to work every day and want to go to, the school board and voice a complaint, and you that don't think you should pay $8 for a gallon of milk, and you that think that toothpaste at $8.50 is too expensive. You are the problem. Here you are. You're not the problem. Neither am I. And I'll be right back with more. Don't go anywhere.